now 7:04. I think we can go ahead, call this meeting to order. Kathy, are you all set with meeting notes?
Yes, I am. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, great. So it doesn't look like we have any public participants, so we can go ahead and go forward with our agenda. I think our first item is to review our meeting notes for May, July, and August. Were there any concerns with any of the meeting notes?
I was unable to open the May, but if there are nobody else has concerns, that's not a concern of mine.
Jill and Jess, are you both okay with the May meeting notes?
Yep, I'm okay with them.
Yep, I'm okay with them.
All right. So I think I can motion to approve the May 1st meeting notes.
I second.
Okay. I don't know who actually seconded, but I'm just gonna go over each person's name because I can't see your faces.
Oh, I seconded.
Lucy.
I seconded it. I seconded it. It's Jess. Or
Great,
Kat.
thank
Yeah.
you, Jess. And then all approve, I approve.
I approve, Jill.
Yep,
I approve.
yep.
Okay. And Sonia?
Yep, I approve.
Okay. And then going on to our July meeting notes. I motion to approve.
Second, Kathy.
I can second. I don't think I was there for that one. Is that so?
You weren't, right?
No.
I also think I wasn't there for that.
Okay. I think but can we go ahead and go through the process of approving, Jess, even if they're not there
So
or only
I'm
those
not
that attended
sure.
can approve?
Yeah, only those that attended can approve. If enough people who attended are here now, then I think that you could, like, I don't know what the number was of people, but I think that if you have um if you have half of the people who attended, or because I think, let's see, one, two, you may be shy of a vote, to be honest, but I think if
But if you guys did attend, there probably isn't that very many more who are voting, because I think most of us are here. I think the only one who isn't here is Erica,
yeah, so I think
the voting members.
you probably can you can approve it, just who was here then. It seems like more than half of the people who were in the meeting
Yeah.
are here to approve, so I
Yes.
think that actually counts.
Okay.
Okay.
So I approve.
I do.
Okay. Yep, I approve. All right, thank you. So then we're going to go on to the August meeting notes. I
not
motion to
there.
approve.
I can second that.
And I think that was it, because I think it was just me, you, Jill, and Erica, right? Maybe.
Yep, I think so.
So I know with the summer months, it's hard to get
Yeah.
us all at in the meetings. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start. And I approve.
I approve.
Okay. So I think that takes us through the meeting notes, which is great.
Great.
Yeah.
And then our next topic, I'm doing this from memory, is probably operations. Is there any items that we have from an operational standpoint? I think we don't have anything going on with the tote bags anymore. We are working with the marketing team. I think you saw some of those emails with Jennifer and communications to update our logo. So according to Jennifer, the logo that we have right now doesn't meet the new guidelines. So there are some proposals that Erica shared of the new marketing logo. So if you want to digest that a little bit, and then we can think about like which option would work best for us. It does look very different. It's now very plain, I would say, the logo.
That email go
So-
to all of us? Do you know?
I thought Erica had responded to
It's very
the,
possible that she did.
distribution. Yeah. But what I can do is I can just forward that over as part of the meeting notes, maybe, and then if you can
Okay.
just take a look at it and let us know.
Okay,
And then we can vote on it next time, or maybe we can talk to Jennifer if there's anything else that we can do. But it really it's just the town logo ultimately, and then it just says, you know, the Wakefield Human Rights Commission, and that's it. So we only have a label. We don't have our own logo anymore.
and why is that?
I don't know what instigated the changes. I just know that she mentioned that there was that they have a new guideline in place now.
Okay,
So I'll follow up with Jennifer to ask her a little bit more about that. And then any other questions about the logo?
no, I don't think I got it, but, so if you're able to pass that along with the notes, that would be amazing.
Yep, we will do that.
Thank you.
And then the next item is our Facebook site. So Erica, in our meeting last month, volunteered to take over our Facebook site and become the administrator of that and do the updates, which we are very thankful for. And so Jennifer has given her admin rights to that. Before she makes any updates, though, she wants to go to the training on the use of the Facebook site in our town, because there's certain things that we can't do when we're administering the site due to freedom of speech. So she's going to go to that training first, and then once she's done with that training, then she will start updating the Facebook site.
I'm sorry, can I ask who was that who's going to be updating the Facebook site? I'm trying to type with only
Erica?
one eye. Say again, Erica?
Erica?
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Yep, okay, I do remember that, yep.
Thank you, Kathy.
I sent along a few events or just some things that were happening for Hispanic Heritage Month that could be possibly posted on the Facebook site. So depending, and since we're underway, depending on when the training is, I'm not sure if those are possible to get up. I think they're pretty much just happenings.
Okay.
But
Did you want us to add any, I don't remember, Jess, did you also provide us with some intros for each of those? Do you want them listed as separate postings?
I did not provide those with I stopped being on Facebook and now I became Facebook illiterate. But I can give you some intros for those. Just to give a context, I think it was an event, a Maura Haley event, that I believe a Wakefield student will be at, and one is something happening at the MFA. They're pretty, I think they're pretty self-explanatory in the two of them are in the info in the image, but I can give a little blurb about that. And I don't personally know what the regulations are for our Facebook posts either. So
It's
I
really more about
defer to
deleting
you.
things. Yeah, it's more about deleting things, deleting content.
Okay, so yeah, so I will I'll give a little bit more context and circle Erica into that email as well, just to get some stuff up so that people know what's going on. Just some fun stuff that's going on.
Thank you, Jess. Does anyone else have any other operational items?
So I'm not sure if this falls into it, but last time I was in the meeting in July, and I was supposed to get in touch with Sherry Dalton about possible fundraising for the commission. Is that going to fall into operations or like finance?
Is that the economic development grant?
No. So I
Okay.
was not talking to Erin. I was talking to Sherry about seeing if
Yep.
the commission is even allowed to fundraise or accept money. And I can speak about that now if you like.
Yeah, I think it's a operational item.
Yeah,
Thank you.
sure. I'm so sorry. Okay. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I had a conversation with Sherry, and she was saying that public employees are prohibited from like engaging in fundraising on behalf of the
Public employees?
town. So we're prohibited from fundraising on behalf of the town. So if we're going to be fundraising with the name of our commission, that's not allowed.
Okay.
So she said that we can collect, we're not allowed to collect like vendor fees. For example, if we have someone that comes over here and we would want them to be like a vendor for our festival, we can't collect fees from the vendor, but she said that we can collect fees at the event for people to come to the event. So like I can't ask a vendor to like, you know, set up like an invoice to bill the town for it if it's like included in our budget. However, if people were to come to this, it's something that we can offer them.
Yep.
Yeah. And then like she said that we can accept donations that have to be approved by the council. And she did like give me a bunch of literature that I can review in the handbook if we have like other certain questions about it. But she did say that the Economic Development Council was running that program that we can receive up to 15 grand for any event that we choose to host.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Sonia, for the follow-up.
Of course.
Did anyone else have any other operational items?
I don't know whether this would come under operations, but it maybe just as a point of information, I have been able to attend the Massachusetts Human Rights, it's not called commission, I can't remember. They meet on Friday mornings, I think once a month. I really don't have a whole lot to report yet, but I am becoming more aware of what the commissions in a number of other towns are engaged in. And
Great.
what has become very clear is that many of them are involved in advocacy in addition to hosting events. And just for the record, that is something I'd like to see us doing. I understand that there's a history to that, so I'm backing off of it right now. But I'll continue. I've been able to attend 2 or 3 of those. I was only able to attend half of the meeting last Friday. But as relevant information comes up, I'll be reporting to this commission.
That's great. Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah.
Do you have a couple examples of the advocacy programs that other HRC programs have?
Yeah, I would have to go back and take a look. I have to confess that the past couple of weeks have been taken up with some medical issues that my husband has and my eyes again. And so my brain is a little bit foggy, but as I talk to them, to others, I will, you know, and if I get to the point where I'd like to propose that we engage in some more advocacy, I will, I'll report that. But right now, I'm afraid I'm being very vague. And
That's quite all right.
if you could see my eyes my left eye behind these glasses, you'd understand why. One of the reasons I'm vague.
Yeah, but thank you for the update, Kathy. We look
Okay,
forward to
thanks.
hearing more about the
Yeah.
Massachusetts
Yeah.
human rights developments and what
Coalition.
the other
That's what
towns are
they're
doing.
called, the Human
Coalition.
Rights Coalition. Yeah.
Did anyone have anything else to add or questions?
I just had a quick question. So, in terms of like advocacy, are we looking for people who would come and speak like how we had at like the Juneteenth day that we had? People came in and had like a conversation about how it is and a little bit of poetry about what's going on. Is that what you mean in terms of advocacy? Having someone do like an educational session to like inform people, or are we trying to have like someone do like a performance of sorts that would be obviously educational in other terms?
I think it's,
Go ahead.
sorry, I think it's more like some of the people that I've talked to who have been on other HRCs, they're, as opposed to doing events, they are more there either to provide a forum, or to, be a presence at different events, like as advocates for human rights, for people to kind of bring their thoughts and ideas to, but it is really more of like, I mean, and this is something that I don't know where it fits into the Wakefield, sort of center, but it's more like instead of events, you're doing more advocacy and like your, maybe I don't know if I don't want to say issuing statements or come up with a bunch of examples, but I think that like you're at events with a table to be an advocate for human rights is what I feel like some towns are doing
Okay.
that I've talked to.
Would that be, and this is just a suggestion of sorts, like what if we were to do something on behalf of the commission at possibly like schools, like at maybe the middle school or something, when they have like a period where we could have someone come and discuss, advocacy in certain areas and human rights that need to be addressed and kids should be aware of and stuff like that. I think that would also be a really nice idea to maybe get the younger kids involved and make it like a small little program that, of course, does not have to be required, which, I will leave that to the schools to decide. But I think that might be a good way to like make sure that we have someone that is coming to these, not events per se, but like participation groups where we can have things like advocacy going on.
Yeah.
Or maybe be like a partner for a high school club
Yeah.
Right.
too.
Yeah, I've got a friend, well, a friend of my, a friend of a friend, my wife works with her, I believe, who is on an HRC. I forget in what town, but if we ever wanted to hear like what her experience is and what's worked and what hasn't for their town, I can either get just like an email sent to the HRC from her, or she could pop into a meeting to kind of to chat if people want to just have an idea as well.
That would be
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, that'd be very interesting.
I can also get in touch with the representatives from the other towns. That would be pretty easy because I'm on that mailing list now.
Yeah. Do you think that's
and get the
something?
specifics.
Sorry, Kathy. Do you think that's something that we may be able to have either for our next meeting or by our next meeting? Depending on if we're emailing or if we're gonna have them come in as a guest.
I'll have to just check. I don't know. I don't know what anybody's schedule is personally from my side. Kathy, maybe you have more of a sense or more people to reach out to. So maybe you
Yeah.
bigger pool.
I mean, I can I can reach out to them and I would hope that I could get some responses fairly quickly. I can also check the minutes from the last meeting to see, what people may have talked about. I had to leave shortly after we did sort of the introductions. It's a big group, and we do this introduction thing, say, one thing that has made you happy this week, this month, or something like that. And I didn't get much beyond that before I had to leave. So I'm going to have to rely on the minutes, but I will look into that. Okay.
Thank
I
you.
do know that in the past, the Wakefield HRC has been involved in more things like, perhaps making a statement, responding perhaps to incidents that have happened in the town. And that, my understanding is that caused some controversy. I have to talk to people who were involved in the HRC several years ago.
Yeah, and I think that if we do go in that direction, or if this group chooses that, I think that making or coming to coming to a conclusion or making a decision that what's the limits, or what do we
Right.
respond to, because I think that there's been some question as to, do we respond to every single thing? And
Right.
so we meet monthly, and
Yeah.
I am not saying that everything and there's been turnover in our group. So even if someone like myself might not know what we've done in the past. So I think that
Yeah.
having my suggestion from what I've experienced and heard feedback about is that it would be good for us to have a clear
Yeah.
limit or like goal,
Yeah.
or what our plan is, and be pretty clear about that on our site too.
Yeah.
And Sonia, I
I think
think
it'll
to,
be good to know what other people have done though too. So I think the
Yeah.
suggestion you made of getting information on the what's worked and what hasn't worked would be really
Yeah.
helpful to have.
yep. And Sonia, I think to your point, I think this is what you were saying. I would love to find a way to partner with schools. I think that gets complicated pretty quickly, and I wonder, Pete, if you have any insight on whether that is possible or welcomed. I don't know.
So I think it depends on what partnership looks like. I mean, there's always at every school level, and you know this, Jill, there's always like enrichment opportunities. But
Mhm.
if you want to do something like that, it requires having programming, of course, and that takes a lot of time to either create that programming or the HRC sponsoring that programming and finding someone that adds enough value to bring in as a speaker to the school. In terms of funding, WEF has been a great partner to the Wakefield Public Schools. So if you said, I'll give you an example, and this is one from last year. There was a local author, and that person came in to both the high school and the Galvin for a speaking event. So that may be more like the HRC brainstorming on somebody that would be an amazing speaker to talk on a certain topic. And maybe it's you guys directly, but if not, an external speaker. And then either working with WEF on funding or finding your own funding to help bring that in. And then there's different contacts, usually the PTOs, each of the schools, other than the high school, help with enrichment. At the high school, it would probably more go through administration, and then I often find, like, if it's something that is like history, like when they had the um, cattle car for the Holocaust um, event, that went through the history department leader. So I think it really depends what you have in mind.
Yeah.
You mentioned clubs earlier. I'm sure both the middle school and the high school have all different types of clubs. That's something that's probably more informal. probably your impact there is more, I'll make up a number, a dozen kids in a club, 2 dozen kids in a club, depending on the club, versus an enrichment type event. You can hit a whole grade, you can hit the whole school. It's harder at the high school just because they don't have a lot of free time for enrichment. So, they often really only have like 1 or 2 things per year. Obviously, at the elementary school, there's more opportunity for that. In the middle school, there's some, just not as much, just because there's not enough time in the day to do everything that needs to get done. So I think it would depend on you guys brainstorming on what you have in mind. And then I'm glad once you have your ideas to come up with maybe some next steps as to who to contact, whether it's administration or PTOs at a school or something else, depending on what you have in mind.
Mhm. All right, and sort of
Yeah.
on a different spin, there's Safe Schools, which is a Massachusetts program. It's a free public program that groups of
Yeah.
people go into schools, and really that's more about training and working with teachers to create LGBTQ friendly spaces and affirming spaces in elementary schools and things like that. But that's not a program for our students. That would be like
Yeah.
building level.
Yeah, so that area falls under professional development.
Yeah.
Kara Morrow is responsible, I believe, for district-wide PD. She doesn't come up with all of it, but I think she coordinates it. So if you have a PD suggestion, I would suggest working with Kara on that.
Mhm.
I think also I would, again, this is something that I think I I hesitate to open any can of worms. But it is just, in thinking about what we might do, I think it can sometimes again fall along this line of like, different, like different holidays or different things, different like moments that we then step into, that we then like organize around, or we support somebody who's come to us and asking us like, oh, we've got an event. So sometimes the most active people will get our support, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're hitting every group. Whereas, I mean, reaching everybody, reaching all of the voices in Wakefield, which is also our goal. So I think that something like Safe Schools or something like, something that really does, just ensuring that we're serving as many people in the community as we can, I think it is like it's like
Yeah.
the thing to balance. Um, I say that with a caution that I am speaking off the top of my head and not
Yeah.
with any kind of deep, deep thought on this subject.
Right. Yeah.
Just like piggybacking off, I know someone earlier mentioned about possibly doing like a collaboration with like school extracurricular clubs that might or might not have the same intentions like how we do at the HRC. Maybe like grouping with them and having like them set up like how they do in their schools, in their classes, about joining extracurriculars, getting more students involved, and then just like having like them use us as a resource of like education, or like, hey, we're going to have someone from the HRC come in and like talk in our club about ways that we can get involved in, etc., stuff like that. I think that's also like another way if we can't get around doing like programs at school and actually like going in it with educators and everybody, if that's like a little too difficult.
And that seems to align a lot to, and I'll probably get the name wrong. There's the Youth Action Team and the Youth Council, and I always get the two confused, but they're a group of, I believe, high school students, and they work through the health department. And they often work to do things in the community that are positive. And so if you're looking to have an interaction with a handful of older kids who then maybe would spread something positive to the larger community, that may be an area where you could look at doing something. And that's run by Liz in the health department.
Yeah, and that Liz Liz and actually the person who had been in the health department prior to Liz, they've been really great at reaching out to us and being interested in finding, synergies. Places where we can kind of support each other. So that might be an avenue to look down.
Liz's surname, please.
I'm blanking out. Let me look it up for you and I'll tell you. It is Parsons, Parsons.
Thank you. And the same, I need the same for Sherry. I know I've asked this before and it might be in one of the other lists, but I need a last name for Sherry too, asking her about fundraising.
If you're talking about Sherry,
Dalton.
Dalton,
yes.
Sherry
Dalton.
Dalton. Thank you. Okay, thank you. I'm demonstrating my ignorance of a lot of town officials here.
Yeah, you're gonna get emails.
I think you're doing a great job, Kathy. I'm very happy that you're taking over and doing the meeting notes.
Okay.
Was there anything else anyone wanted to add? And Jess, do we have any updates on the financial reports?
No updates right now. Yeah, the only thing that, the only thing that I think that we've really, done, or the only thing that, we've spent money on is, there was a small fee for the, uh, town day, and I think haven't actually submitted it yet. It was like $30.
Well, along financial matters, I can talk a little bit about this grant, ask some questions that I put over email. And Stacy's response was really helpful. I wonder, I wasn't at the original conversation where folks talked about the potential of the food festival. So I wonder if anybody could just kind of share some things you're picturing so I can add it to an event description.
So I think we wanted to expand the Asian Food Festival that we did, the Asian and Pacific Islander Food Festival, to something that was more international, encompassing of more than just the Asian culture.
Okay.
And so that's kind of the idea around it, kind of like maybe double, even triple in size, depending on how much funding we can get from the
Oh.
Economic Development Council.
Okay.
And then add in other food. It doesn't, I don't think it has to be food trucks, but just make it a festival, get the town of Wakefield together and provide them with that opportunity to connect and be exposed to different items.
Okay.
So we haven't given it a name. I know that was one of the questions that you were asking about, is what name do we give it? And I don't think we did come up with a name yet. If we want to call it the World Festival, International Festival, I think
Yep.
Cultural Food Festival.
Yep. I threw up there Cultures of Wakefield Food Festival.
I like that. I like the inclusion of Wakefield, because I think as much as we can focus on this of like bringing more people down to the downtown, or bringing more people out in Wakefield and supporting any Wakefield businesses that we might be able to include in it, I think that it bolsters the event.
Okay, so I might even say with an emphasis on highlighting local. Well, maybe not.
I don't know what's possible on that, but I do know
Yeah.
that like I don't know I don't know where it will be exactly, or if and I've missed a couple meetings But I don't know where it will be or what our reach would be to get people to participate. But I
Mhm.
think that if we can, I mean, there are some interesting cultural food places in Wakefield. So if we can elevate
And the
them as part
surrounding
of
area
this, and
too.
yeah, and the surrounding area. So if we can elevate any of those, I think that it's a nice inclusion.
And then I think like one of the venues um, that I think we may want to consider is the Galvin, just because it's larger, I believe, than um, the Marical,
Okay.
and we can then use that parking space, and it's covered rain or shine. So if for some reason we need to take it indoors, they have the cafeteria and the gym and the auditorium.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be a good option for us to do a rain or shine event.
Okay. And the grant application does ask for a date.
I think we were thinking we had two dates in mind. One was like either April, May, or October. It just it'll be. I'm guessing we'd want it to be on a weekend day, Saturday or Sunday, and we just want to make sure that we don't conflict with other town events. I think that
Mm-hmm.
was a concern.
So the
All right.
thing to keep in mind at the Galvin is with the high school fields offline, the Galvin fields get pretty busy on the weekends. So that takes up a lot of parking and can mean the space can be pretty busy. I think Dan McGrath may help coordinate those fields, so it may be worth checking with him
Yeah, he
on
does.
days where there aren't events going on there. And then
Yeah.
there's a calendar that the school uses, and I can help you look it up if Jill doesn't have access to it or no one has access to it. And that's what you have to use to reserve the actual space in the school if you want to use space inside the actual school itself. I don't know the logistics of um, reserving like the parking lot, kind of like the carnival does at the school. That'd be something you'd probably talk to. Um, I don't know who handles that one actually.
Yeah, I think we just do it through the town. There's a
Yeah.
town site
Yeah, it's probably
event.
through the town because they handle the actual school grounds.
Yeah. But the reserving of the fields, we probably want to reserve all the fields, and we can talk to Dan about doing that in the recreational areas.
Yeah, I really doubt we're gonna be able to do that April, May, or June at the Galvin Fields anyway.
Yeah.
Just based on how tricky it is to schedule soccer.
Yeah. So maybe
That's
it'll be more
right.
October. We can ask Dan his suggestion. I can send
Yeah.
him an email
The
and
tricky
ask
thing
him.
about grant writing is that they ask you for all these details. So it's like we have to plan ahead, but also are
But
we really
I
going to go ahead and start talking to people and reserving things if we don't know that we have the money? You
I
know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think
but
the sense I got from Stacy
yeah.
is fill out as much as you can and reach out to her.
Yeah.
Um, not like that we got an inside like,
Right.
but like I think that it's because it's I think that they are like they're deciding like and earmarking like what might be coming in. And so I think that if we can go to our best guess right now,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and then, like like we can also reach out and say like if this date ends up switching because of having to reserve things,
Yeah.
how accurate do we have to be with it?
Yeah.
You might be able
Because
to
one
get
thing we have to
Yeah.
be really cautious about is that our deadline is coming up. I think she said
Right.
the deadline was
It's
in
October
October, so we
1st.
probably want to get it in by this month.
Yeah, it's
And
October
funding is
1st.
running out. So
Yeah.
if we can reach out, like fill whatever you can, pass it over to Stacy, Jill, and
Yeah.
ask us. So don't put in a date because she didn't ask us to put in a date. I
You
would just
can't,
do a
so
range
you, no, you
or
can't
pick a
move on.
day.
You can't, yeah, I'm just gonna have to pick a day because I
Yeah,
can't even
just pick
move
a
on to
day
the
and then
next
just
part
let.
of the grant application without putting in a 6-digit date.
yeah.
And it's like an
So I
asterisk
would
that you
just
have
put
to
like
fill it in.
October 1st, 2026.
Yeah.
Or whatever that
Um,
first weekend day in October 2026. So we have something earmarked, and
mhm.
then pass it over to state and just put a note, that there may be a range, and then pass it over to Stacy to see if there's anything else we need to do.
Yeah, I don't think it asks for a location, but it asks for a lot of detail, like the times. I mean, I put in 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Like that seems like a
Yeah.
reasonable time. And if there's a space for me to say like some of these details will change, well, but I don't even the questions that I don't think this application is too complicated, but the questions that I sent yesterday is only what I have seen so far. You can't move on until you have put in
Oh,
specific answers for things.
Mm.
So I don't know what's coming next. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
I
But
would,
again, I don't think it's too tricky and it is due October 1st. So
yeah, I would fill it out to the best of your knowledge, and then I think that we can, like, I think that they will maybe ask us more questions, or, like, we can also send
Mhm.
an email to them saying like, this was, these were required dates, but some of this might be,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
subject to change, you'll get a sense.
yeah,
Um, but I think the sense I got was that it's better to have it in,
yeah.
yeah.
sorry.
No, this is the third grant I've written this week. It is absolutely fine.
That's why then the sorry was right, then I did it,
Yeah,
sorry.
it's not tricky. It's just like, getting the language and sticking it in. So that is, I think that should be fine. And I'll appreciate, Stacy's suggestions are really helpful. And I'll just keep going and reach out over email if anything comes up that feels weird.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
And then our next event, I think the following weekend is Town Day. I actually thought I would be able to volunteer, but I actually won't be able to volunteer. I have a conflict that day.
Ah.
You still good with the other volunteers?
And I realize I don't have it on my calendar. So what's the date?
I think it's that's Saturday, the 27th,
Of
Yeah,
I believe.
September?
From,
yep, Saturday,
yes,
the
September
27th of September, and I think
Okay.
afternoon.
the setup is noon, I think. I will forward, who all is volunteering?
I can do
I
the
am.
second shift.
Okay.
I'm
Um,
basically available at 2 o'clock.
okay. I can help like bring stuff over and get set up, but I've gotta help with a storytelling event that day. So um I can help kick you off, whoever whoever is there, which is a little bit of a pain in the butt just to get the stuff over to the spot.
Yeah.
Last year was pouring rain, so
Right.
maybe my memory of it is colored by that,
Oh,
but I can help get stuff over there, whoever is volunteering. So
okay. So we've got Jess, me, who else?
Is it 12 to
Erica, I
4?
think.
yeah, think so.
Stacy?
And do you know which shift Stacy's available for?
I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
I don't know. I'll reach out and send a specific email getting people to
Yeah.
stay, and
Okay.
and we can also possibly get, if we need other volunteers, we can reach out and see if
Mhm.
any of the other
Some of the members who aren't here may be able
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It is nice to have 2 people per section, but I mean, if I'm doing the second thing on my own, that's okay,
Yeah.
And
I'm
Jess,
pretty
if you need
open.
any help setting up, I'm free from 12 to 1, just not after 1.
Okay, yeah, I'm free to help set up. The only thing that I think, as I recall, I have to check what actually comes with the spot. If it last year was pouring, but I think either way, it might be nice to have a canopy. If anybody has
Yeah.
one, I do not. I think it comes with a table. I have to look it up. But I can offer up any of the things that I have, any implements of Town Day. But I'll see what it's actually in the spot, and I can reach out and see if anybody has any, if we need a tent to bring along with it, or a canopy, we might want to see who might have one of those.
I can give you guys a better understanding of my availability in just a couple of days after my work schedule is released. As soon as I have that, I can possibly come to help out as well.
Thank you, Sonia. Anything else on Town Day? Right.
No,
Our-
no, yeah.
Our next event is we're going to Cultures of Wakefield. We're going to call it Cultures of Wakefield Food Festival. I think that's to be determined. Is there anything else that we wanted to talk about other than the grant piece? I think that's the most important piece.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where we're at.
And then Sherry sent that email. She was going to help volunteer with the organizing of that event to create like the outline. It looks like she's still working on that. Okay. Oh, sorry. I think I went on mute. Does anyone have any suggestions for the books to include or recommend for our Hispanic Heritage Month and Indigenous Peoples Day?
Some of
I
the
usually use Amazon recommendations or Oprah's recommendations. Those are.
was it Erica that sent a list? Somebody sent a list that had some really interesting titles on there.
Yeah, did I see that list? Because I mean, I have a couple that I could, am I muted? No. Send via email because I, taught literature for a number of years. And, off the top of my head, Sandra Cisneros' House on Mango Street is something that's really accessible. It's often taught as a YA novel, but I taught it in college. There are others. Was there a date? I also noticed that there was going to be a discussion. And is there a date for that?
There's not. So we were at the last meeting, we just started to talk about the possibility of doing a book club. And we talked about, it could potentially supplement some of the themes that we just don't have the capacity to, plan events around. But
Yeah.
it could also be an avenue for discussion in a way that um, festivals and things like that, just a different sort of event.
Yeah.
So it was Stacy that sent out a list for Hispanic Heritage Month and a list for Indigenous Peoples Day. And she got these titles from, let's see, who did she say? A friend of hers a good friend who works at Belmont Books. So
Uh-huh.
one of the titles was Middle Spoon by Alejandro Varela, which is out soon, not out yet, but out soon. And then Victim by Andrew Boriga. Both of those looked interesting. And Tell It to Me Singing by Tita Ramirez. She sent us this list over
Also came up
email.
with a list too. So Erica provided a list as well as Stacy.
Okay, I wonder.
I've got a couple of folks in town, members of the Wakefield community reached out to me with a bunch of ideas for more specific to Hispanic Heritage Month, just for that. But one of the things that was on their short list of wishes, or like things that might be fun to get together in Wakefield, was a library book reading day, that would be, accessible for family and kids. I can reach out to them. I'm gonna chat with them later this week. And I can reach out to them for any additional book ideas, but maybe also to have a book list for that. Maybe it may be good to have some things that are for adults and some things that might be more accessible for families and kids. Might be able to think in that way as well. I am also, they they had also mentioned possibly doing, or they were hoping that at some point Wakefield could do something like a movie for it seemed like there was a hope for things for families, but a movie, which as I've found out is pretty expensive to show a movie, or there's a lot of parts to getting the rights to show a movie. So I reached out to the library, but I can also, um, but I think as part of this discussion, I can get some more book suggestions from them. And maybe also some for kids and some for families and some for adults to add to this.
Yeah, I think there's a few different ways to go about this. One, certainly maybe through our Facebook page or in other ways, certainly putting out book lists, around certain topics. Like even just getting Stacy's list, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna read some of those on my own, like
Mhm.
whether or not we do them for the book group. Um, and I know that the library has been very supportive of they might have already done that,
Yeah.
so, um, so we could potentially work with the library around that. At the last meeting, we started to talk books, then we realized like there are so many options, that we all left with homework to come back with 2 or 3 so that we could kind of put them all into a pool and start choosing one. Um, I came back, I have one, but it's not really themed in these ways. And so, um, but Stacy sent many, and Erica, I
Mhm.
don't know if I have her list. I'm not sure if I'm getting Erica's emails. Um,
Okay.
so now we have like a lot to choose from. And the question is, when do we want to pull the trigger and just start something? Um, you know, how careful do we want to be about the book choice? Do we all want to like read it before we decide? Or is it safe to say, pick one on theme and start rolling with the planning?
Yeah, I guess I might say, like, I mean, because it's now, like, we're kind of in the midst of, like sharing this for this, it is Hispanic Heritage Month presently, and we're coming up on Indigenous Peoples' Day. I would say, you know, and like I think we could chat with the library or anybody who's shared a book if they've read it. But I think like if there are any Wakefield authors, bonus.
Sure.
Um,
Really? Yeah.
just always, of course. If there's, if, and then I would say like if something is like more, like more than under like I would gather it like this author is from this area, like just here are some from like
Bios.
yeah, like either bios or like like you could cover different topics, like this person's writing about this, or you can say these are just a bunch of authors from different, like this is fiction and nonfiction. Like I think like like once you look at what you have, maybe you can kind of get an organizing principle around like, well, what am I recommending to people? Something beyond just saying here are a bunch of things that
Mhm.
authors from the like that map to this event. I think we can kind of like figure out like you know, this is a historical, like, if you want to learn about history, here's a set of things. Or if you want
Mhm.
authors from a bunch of different like Latin American regions, like Latinx communities, like you can, you know, read these authors. Or if you want to say like, this is good for families, this is good for this genre, this is good for this genre. I think, you know, like with books, I mean,
Yeah.
there was a period of time where I
Is
organized
anyone
all my books by
volunteering
color.
though? Is anyone volunteering to take on that responsibility to, compile the list of books
Well,
and provide, like, to Jess's point, subcategories of sorts? So like the way Erica and I'm guessing Stacy did something similar is they put it under the two different genres of
yeah,
Hispanic Heritage Month or
yeah,
Indigenous Peoples
yeah,
Day. And I think that should be sufficient for what we want to do, because I think
Mhm.
anything more complicated will require additional work.
yeah. I feel
So
like I
is
might
it
be talking about a
something?
different idea.
Yeah, what is
Okay.
it that you're talking about?
Last time we talked about choosing one book
Oh, and doing
and
a
putting it
book
out to the
reading.
community. If anybody wants to have a facilitated discussion, read this book, and in however many weeks' time, maybe we can get some
Oh,
space
the
at
book club.
the Miracle
Yeah.
Civic Center and come together for facilitated conversation.
Yeah. I think we're doing it two ways. I think we're going to do one was going to choose a single book, and then the second was to provide the list of recommendations. I
Okay.
think we're going to try to do it both of those pieces so that people can join us individually for this specific book, or they have options to read more,
Yeah, I like that.
I like
if
that.
they choose to do so.
Hmm.
And then for the actual getting together in person, for the discussion, maybe that's something that we can plan during the end of October or early November. And we can do it at the library, in one of the rooms at the library.
Mhm.
Does that sound
Yeah,
okay?
yes, possibly one of the rooms at the library or the room at the Miracle Civic Center or the Cultural Exchange. Was that one of the places that came up last time
Yeah.
That would make
as
sense.
potentially an underutilized space?
Yeah. We just have to decide on the day. So maybe, does anyone have a preference on days? So if we look at the calendar and look at, end of October, November,
Mm-hmm.
where's that? Is that the November 1st or November? Just looking at my calendar here.
I mean,
So if we
Mondays,
look at Saturday, November 1st, or maybe the 8th
I don't know if a
or the
Saturday,
9th of November.
I don't know if a weekend would
Oh, we
really,
try to do Thursdays, don't we? Don't we try to do
uh,
Thursdays, maybe November 6th, Thursday, November 6th?
I mean, Thursdays generally are not great for me, but um, if it feels like Thursday, it would be like a day where that is works for the community. I could make it happen.
Yeah. And I think, Kathy, I think you had you had volunteered potentially to kind of lead the discussion, book club discussion. Does that still work for you?
Yeah, I don't remember volunteering for it, but it's something that, I spent most of my life doing, so I'd be very happy to, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. Does Wednesdays work better for you, Joe?
A little bit better. Tuesdays are
Okay.
best, but I could do Wednesdays or Thursdays.
Yeah, I mean, so long as it doesn't conflict with our meeting, any weekday.
Yeah.
Is Tuesdays best for
What do we
everyone?
think? And what do we think about, people in the community who might choose to participate? I'm wondering,
Weekdays are always going to be tough, right? So,
I think
we
weekends
tend to
too is
get
nice.
better participation on the weekends.
Why don't, do you, Jill, are you organizing this? Are you?
I am happy to. Yeah.
I, so I can at least if it helps, I can put you in contact with, a couple of people who are interested in thinking of things or reached out with an interest in coming up with some ideas for Hispanic Heritage Month. They might be able to help with some of this, or might be motivated to help volunteer with any parts of this.
mean, I think
Or
it's
have some
very-
thoughts if you want any more
Yeah.
input or thoughts.
I think I'm like, I am anticipating taking on a very low key venture. Like we pick a
Yeah.
book, we advertise it, we find a space, and we show up and have a discussion.
Yeah, but even like for a day, or if a book that might be very, like, if there's any kind of like, I can also float it, because I think that everybody realizes that we're late in planning anything big, but I think there's some motivation to make sure to see what we might be able to do.
Mhm.
And a lot of ideas were floated my way for like what people might be interested in, and some of the things that they're already doing
Mhm.
that we might be able to highlight. So they might have some thoughts on this as well.
Yeah, I don't
Go ahead,
know.
So
yes.
we're a little bit over time, so I just want
Yeah.
to be cognizant of time. So I
Sure.
think, Jill, if you don't mind organizing, Kathy, if you don't mind leading the discussion,
Right.
and then just feel free to definitely, pass along the
Yeah.
information over to Jill, and
Mhm.
hopefully we can advertise it and plan for sometime in early November.
Yeah, I was hoping we could decide on a book together. Like can certainly like do the legwork of the space. I mean, I can just choose a book. That's also fine. Um, I'll do that, and then I can follow up about next steps over email.
Yeah.
And if Jill, if there's a couple books that you're like on the fence on, send it via email, and then we can always, provide you with feedback.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So I think we are at 8:05, and I will motion to adjourn.
Second. Are you asking
Okay.
for a motion?
Approve.
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 Approved.
Okay. I think we are all set. Thank you, everyone. We will talk again in a month and before then for Town Day.
Thank you so much.